Hey there, everybody. Today's Friday, August 12th, and in the past 72 hours, we've received another 40 or so yards of wood chips. This time it was spruce, and then an ash and some few understory trees that the kid wasn't sure of, but that's fine. If I want to have the space to get any more chips from the rest of their work through the rest of this season, it's incumbent on me to move those through. So sometimes my planned checkups and updates and things don't really go to plan. So I hope you'll forgive. But with this new influx of wood chips, we are moving forward because other parts of the plan are coming together in ways that are fantastic. So we're going to take a look at what's going on and what we're doing with these chips at the moment. All right, so I realize to you folks that are watching this on your screens, I can see the difference, A, because I just did it, and B, I'm right here, but the camera flattens things and kind of doesn't provide as much. But if you follow this little bit right here, and we're at the base of a erstwhile garden bed down in the woods, but if you follow this up that way, all the way to that berm over there, that is one of our contour lines that we are marking off with our wood chips. And standing from here, it's going that way, it looks like it's seriously downhill, and I get that, but this is all roughly even elevation wise. We're just going to duck under this tree, and maybe you can see a little bit easier how this all comes together. Give you kind of the context of where we are in the woods. The pond is off that way. We are towards the southwest end of the property. The creek runs through there, and we have a path leading down, and the main tractor path goes right through there. And so from this vantage point, you can see the difference between the green woody debris and the pine needles. And what we're doing is just finding our level, and I'm going to show you guys what I've been using for my projects here in just a moment. But we're just taking a moment to mark out, and then we're going to make sure that we like how it all flows, because while contour is important, having overflow access, having spillways, and making sure that your contour measurements align with your site goals, and by that I mean making sure that your contour considerations are spaced adequately to provide for the water access for the plants that you're intending, or the efficacy of the roadways you're implementing. This line right here, it doesn't have to be set in stone. I can shift it up to the base of that tree, or to the inside of that tree, or the top of that tree. And really, the big thing is that I want my contour lines and my catchments to slow and sink water, and also to absorb some of the impact and inertia from it. And I want it to be spaced such that when I am in here, or managing my gardens, or doing work on the roadway, or harvesting silt catchment from something like a zuni bowl, I have the space necessary to do everything, and it all functions cohesively. So about 10 paces up from the line behind us is another one that comes around this way, and it ends just at the eastern edge of that tree right there. And it goes all the way across over to a pile right in there. This one right here is bigger because that is the consideration for the walkway that comes down to where I am standing. And so that's the general start of it. And so we have just a marker that we're not going too crazy with because I don't want the picture itself to get muddied. But right here is my little A-frame. It's cute. I use this particular level because it has a little cutout on the spirit level right there, so that when I am working it, I can kind of stand here and tilt it a bit and be able to eyeball it. And that way I can make really accurate readings pretty much by myself. It's just tied off with cute little shoestring bows to one side of a patio swinging chair. That's what this is. There's a little piece that sits right there, and it comes up and it goes that way. And there's another piece that matches this guy. And then where those two holes are right there is where the bracing leg for the bottom part of the back is. So when I need it, I can pop it apart real quick. When I want to sit and swing, I can do that. I can't really. I broke it accidentally and have yet to replace the swing itself. But we do have it. I could use it for trellising, but this seems to be the function that seems best for the tool that I have right now. And so you can see, if I come over here, I have this pile of about 15 yards that I've dropped over here. We've also been spreading some more down back, but that is where our projects are at right now. But we can come up this way. It's deep. I may have overestimated that. That looks more like 8 yards. If I zoom, you might be able to see the chips past the tractor. There they are. But so, the pond is still holding steady. I've noticed that Darkwing is really having a good time sifting and sieving at the edges, which is hampering my efforts to get this to seal appropriately. But it is holding water very steadily. We have not gotten more rain since the last few days, and what had come in those days was generally pretty weak. This morning I came out just to do a little bit of work, and I haven't been sleeping well, and I fell, and that's why the bucket is in there, and I've been a little leery about going in after it today, because I've already sunk all the way up to my midsection in that pond. So at the very, very base, it's about 4 feet deep already, and by the time it comes up to its banks and the little overflow right there that is designed in, and you can see some of the rocks that we're going to use for that spillway once we get to that point of the project again. It'll be enough for me to fully submerge if that was something I had any interest in doing, which it will not be. The bean 2 is not really what I had hoped for. I think if this had been a wetter summer like last year, I think this would have been an absolutely gangbusters garden, but even with sending the duckling water to this garden exclusively, it stays a little dry, and I have a feeling that we may have been over-nitrifying it. That said, these guys should be sequestering it, and even though those are failing, we do have several volunteer tomatoes coming up in the space, as well as additional sprouts of things like mints and some of the grasses that the ducklings have been liking, as well as some pollinator service plants. Our little elder in the back corner over there is doing great. I might actually get a handful of berries if I can beat the birds to them this year after they ripen. This little space right here, though, we have a small fenced-in pen for the young ones. I know that water looks filthy. It gets changed daily. They're just disgusting animals. I love them dearly, though. The ducklings tend to hang out in the afternoon inside, but we have them in their own little separate space so that the boys, Darkwing and Norris, are able to interact with them and see them and get used to them, and the younglings to the boys as well, but with a way that prevents there from being the ability to have really any sort of conflict of any sort. We're out here enough that the dogs' own special reactivity to duck or poultry violence is quite handy. And I'm just hooking it somewhat. It's not really resting on the watering cup, but this is their little outdoor playpen. We throw in salad and leaves and weeds and garden trimmings to the ducklings, and so they're doing pretty well. Let's take a peek inside. There they are. So we're starting to see some patterns. Some of the bigger ducklings feel like males, but I do believe that they hatched out over a period of several days, and so there are just some slight differences. But if you look at this little one's feet compared to that little one's feet, that is usually a sign of a difference in gender. Usually. But they have 2 dishes. They get fresh bedding every day. We're getting ready to do another round of biochar to throw in here, and they have plenty of outdoor space as well. They seem to like hanging out in here, but between the broken hose grommets for the door frame and an additional run of hardware cloth along the skirt and a re-securing of all of the panels in here. So far, we've had no other challenges. That being said, I did set a trap with the ferret food, and for the course of 2 weeks, I haven't seen anything. The trail cam hasn't been seeing the raccoon that was picking off some of the adults, and the neighbors have not suffered any other losses either, so it's possible that the predators either moved on once they had cleaned us out, or another person in the neighborhood, possibly another one of the farmers in the area, caught them, or a dog got them, or a cat got them. It's hard to say. I'm just grateful that my birds are okay. So we're going to keep an eye on them. We're getting ready to show you guys a video about changing over the gardens this summer, and what we're doing and what we're not doing, I guess. And I'll show you stuff more in the woods soon. Our neighbor is just about done with their cutting project. There are only a few hours of every day that I don't have several multi-ton machines out in the back 67 acres running, and while it gives me a fair deal of anxiety when it comes to doing things in the woods, the other part of it is that it's loud and it's jarring, and I don't think it would make for a good audio quality, and I think it would be a lot of effort to keep re-recording and keeping it genuine and thoughtful without seeming rote, to try and avoid those periods of too much loud. So that's our little update. I'm going to show you guys one last thing, and then we're going to keep on keeping on. I'm a little sore from this morning's fall, so I'm trying to do low-key activities. But let me show you this pumpkin. That's my pumpkin. I might have to step back a little bit. That is one pumpkin plant going gangbusters. It's got a few neighbors in the back over by the base of the A-frame that has performed not up to my hopes, but I think part of that was the materials usage. So we'll do a review on that soon when I'm finished changing over that space. But if we get in here, I'm trying to be sure not to step on too much. So check out that pumpkin, guys. This is called a long pie pumpkin. You can see this other one right under here. Just for a sense, it's the span of my pinky and my index finger. And there are more. Now, I do see squash beetles and squash bugs coming in here, so it's likely that I might have to let some ducklings loose in here to get some bugs. But that said, if I got enough pumpkins to get me through a good portion of what I need, I have others, and we can keep managing as we need. So far, I have not seen up until today these instances of the white on the leaves, which could be milky spore, but it could also be powdery mildew, which these are susceptible to. This is an older variety of pumpkin that is native to New England. Here you can see the size of it and all. Oh man, doesn't want to focus. There you go. So it's longer than my hand. It's heavy as sin. There are about 15 in there, I think, so far. And it's honestly the best pumpkin I've ever eaten. I think you can get the seeds from Fedco, and it's totally worth doing. I have some thoughts on some other things, but that's going to have to do it for now. I've got to get ready to close up things for the afternoon and get onto some of my reading and other homeworks so that I can keep learning stuff to share with you guys. So, till next time. Thanks for watching. Happy planting.